like to tell funny personal stories. Tonight, I've been married for 51 years.
That gets more reaction than anything.
So I'd like to talk about how you know he's a keeper. Now, I have to tell you, I didn't know at the time. I was just living my life like everybody else does, and I didn't recognize these signs. But now I can look back, and there are 3 signs I'd like to tell you about. Son, buttons, and mother. I name my stories so they're easier to remember. So son, the clue was he does what he says he's going to do. Now I started it. The first time my future husband called me, I said, "Can I call you back in 30 minutes? We're just about to spring a surprise party on my dorm floor." He says, "Oh, okay." Now he told me later that 2 things about that request surprised him. The first thing was that I said, "Can I call you back?" instead of asking him to call me back. When I heard that, I'm like, you're not dating the right class of women. The second thing that surprised him was I said I'd call him in 30 minutes, and I called him in 30 minutes. Now, I was born in Chicago, raised a Midwesterner, a little bit of Texas under my belt also. But we Midwesterners do what we say we're going to do. We're very practical people. What you see is what you get. And then he upped the game. He asked me to go tobogganing. Some of you have heard this story before. And I said, well, we're at Michigan State, but there's no snow on the ground. I know it's the end of January, but there's no snow. Can you really go tobogganing if there's no snow? And he said, well, I'm from Georgia. They tell me I control the sun. I will turn it off. This was on a Tuesday night. On Thursday night, it started snowing. By Friday, we had over 2 feet of snow. The roads were closed. The school was closed for the first time in its history. We could not get to the toboggan run, but you know, he did what he said he was going to do. We've still never been tobogganing. Buttons. So the clue is, can he do things to take care of himself? So we were on a date once. I don't know why we're fixing buttons on a coat, but he showed me how to sew a button on a coat. Now I knew how to sew a button on a shirt, on a blouse. You just stitch it, sew it on. But I did not know that for a coat you have to leave the thread longer so there's enough room between the button and the placket of the coat to button it. So he showed me how to do it. Now that might seem pretty simple to you all, but to me it was a story. The story was, I'm not going to have to do all the domestic chores in his house. There is nothing sexier than a man who knows how to sew on a button. There's some agreement in the house. So the third story is mother. So the clue is, can you influence him? Now all young women are told, don't think that when you marry a guy, you're going to be able to change him. And this is mostly true. We are who we are. However, it would be nice to know if you can influence him. And I found out that I could. When we met, my future husband was a senior at Michigan State. I was a sophomore. And he announced to me that he was not going to be going to his graduation. There were 9,000 people in his graduating class, so no one was going to be walking across the stage. They were just going to stand up class by class, school by school. He wasn't going to get his diploma at the ceremony. They were going to mail it to him. So he said, there's really no point in going to graduation. And I said, you are the oldest child and the firstborn son of your parents. They want to see you graduate. He graduated. You're welcome, Ruth and Fox. I'm Carol Covin. You can find me on Facebook and YouTube, and I've written a book, Who Gets to Name Grandma, which is available on Amazon and around the corner at Prospero's. Thank you.